Welcome to Life on Maui. My name is Stephen Freid. We have a special guest today who spends most of the year in Santa Fe, but some of the year here on Maui. And she's doing some very important work that she would like the community here to know about. It's called Hellinger Work, and it's very cutting edge, it's very important work. So we're very interested in getting this out in the community here. And so welcome to the show, Naomi Fiske.
Thanks, Steve.
And Naomi in Hebrew means my delight.
Right.
My delight.
Mm.
Yeah. So how do you see that? How do you feel that delight?
Whew, that is a big question. And in order to answer that, I'm going to tell you the background of why my father called me Naomi.
Ah, yes.
So I was born in a displaced persons camp in Niederpecking, Germany. And I believe that as a result of the deep grief and loss that both my parents experienced, that I held a lot of hope for them, and hope in general, new life coming in the midst of so much loss. So to be in the light, out of that darkness, is what I believe I am now really starting to fulfill in the work that I'm doing.
And what was the conditions? Why were you in Germany so long after the war?
I think that both my parents had nowhere to go, that they were in the displaced persons camps, and they met each other there. I believe they were there for a couple of years for immigration to allow them to emigrate to America. So you can imagine the level of emotion that was happening there, because everybody had that loss in common, and of course that's what brought everybody together.
And loss in this case for you personally is, what was lost?
Well, my father lost every relative that he had.
In the concentration
in
camp.
the concentration camps. And my mother lost her parents and a couple of brothers and sisters, so she too was in deep grief.
And so this is what you were born in. You were conceived there?
Yes.
You were conceived in the displaced persons camp.
I was conceived there. I was born there. We didn't emigrate to America until I was a few months old. So I was basically born in a womb of grief.
Oh my God.
And I knew that. I mean, in the years of all my therapy that I've done, I realized that I was carrying enormous grief, and I didn't understand it until the last 20 years, I would say.
So when did you first come upon this Hellinger work? The fellow's name who invented it is
Bert Hellinger. And it's a family constellation method of connecting to the field of love that holds us all. So even when there's deep grief and deep loss, there is always this love that is behind it. And of course, it's hard at times to connect to that love when you are in the middle of such a deep emotion and feeling such a deep pain. And this is a way of making room for it all. The reason I love this work is because it is a bowing to everything that we carry. There is no denial here. It's not saying you should get rid of or be over or be around. It is an honoring, and physically, literally, we bow before all of it. So we bow to our parents. We thank them for the life that they've given us. And we want to honor them by honoring this life, even in the midst of the pain, with the loss, with the grief, with whatever the story is. So
So what does it look like? I mean, if you take it out of the realm of talking about it, what does this work look like? What would it look like in the room here?
It would be a group.
It's always a group.
It's definitely, it's nicer to have a group process, because the person who wants to do the work with themselves would choose someone to represent themselves, and they would choose somebody to represent the topic that they were addressing. It could be an emotion, it could be a mother, a father. I've done constellations where people were trying to decide whether they should move from one place to another. So they would pick somebody to represent, for instance, Santa Fe, and somebody to represent Maui. And then the person who was doing the constellation would place each person in the field facing in a particular way that they felt guided to do. So this is really a movement of the soul. It's not psychodrama in the sense of telling somebody what they should say ahead of time. So what I would do if I was directing this is to just sit down and allow the people who've been chosen to be representatives to allow this movement in their own soul, to release any thoughts they might have about the role that they are in, and to just allow this deep wisdom that we are all connected to just move through them, and to trust it, because then the miracles appear.
Well, I had you did one advantage that I have of doing this show is that I get to try all of these things. So the other night, we had you and your husband, Richard, I want to talk a little bit more about, over to dinner the other night, and we spontaneously went into a process.
Yes.
And I've had a lot of different kinds of therapeutic settings, and where it's you put somebody in the chair over here, and they're this or that. I found this to be different. I could say the thing that felt different to me is that the people really embodied different aspects of myself. But how would you describe it?
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
So they almost become channels.
Yes.
It's really different in the sense that I actually felt like the people were becoming channels for what I needed. So this is, and you guide that. You guide that process.
Yes. And another part of this that I think is very important that I bring into this work as a minister, and I do perform different kinds of ceremonies, weddings.
You're a minister?
I am a minister, and so I do a lot of ceremonies, baby blessings and weddings, of course, and memorial services. And so there is a place here of deep prayer that I feel is very important. So before we even start the process, we all take time to just breathe, to be really quiet, and to call in the spirit of each person who's there, and the spirit of our ancestors who have been with us from the beginning of time, and to all of the beings who bless us, so that we can feel the magnitude of that presence holding us. And in that way, we create an incredibly safe container. And then the mystery really unfolds. So it is also very prayerful work. And I think that that gives us more permission to be willing to feel the depth of what we carry. Because sometimes we don't even know how deep it is. It's one thing to be conscious of something perhaps in our history and our legacy that we have, but also so many times people don't know that something has happened perhaps to an ancestor 7 generations before them, and somehow they've been living in this world not in the fullness of their potential or capacity, and this might reveal to them something that has happened in their past, or in a family's past.
And I know that this is for everyone.
Yes.
And I know that you have a particular interest in bringing it to the Jewish community.
Right.
That you would really like the Jewish community here on Maui to become aware of what you're doing.
Right.
And of course in Santa Fe as well.
Right.
You know, you're here several months a year now,
Yes.
and with time, I think you'll be here more.
Yes.
So, it might seem evident, but why do you particularly want to work with the Jewish community?